Hi guys, welcome to the Camper Dan Files. My name is Chris, and today we're just going to take some time just to review 2023 just a little bit. I'm currently outside on my balcony here off of our master bedroom. Again, this isn't a space that gets used very often, so I figured why not. It's really nice out today. It's in the mid 60s. We're also testing out a new camera and camera equipment, mainly wireless microphone here. So I hope that this is doing a good job of picking up the audio. So 2023, a year in review. We didn't do too much this year to the R50. We did add a few more visual upgrades, and most of which are very useful. The rooftop basket that you guys now see on my rig, along with the ARB awning and LED light strip combo. Those were a few of the last tidbits that we've added to the R50, a lot more recent. We also did get our comms or communication up and running finally. It was something that I've been telling you guys about for at least a year or longer, and we finally made it all happen right around Labor Day of 2023. And again, that was a whole debacle. We actually had to try 3 different awnings before we finally got the right one. The first one was a YesComm brand. Don't get one. I know the cost is it's gonna tempt you to want to get one because of how cheap it is, but there's a reason why it's that cheap. Again, we didn't even get a chance to use that awning. Upon opening the bag for the first time, the zipper just came right off. Like, I couldn't believe it. And then we switched to an ARB brand. The first awning that we got, that one was heavily damaged, so we had to send it back. And that first awning we actually ordered from eBay, the ARB one, the first one that we got. So we were jumping in between Amazon and eBay. The YesComm we got from Amazon. The initial ARB awning we got from eBay. And then the final ARB awning that we went with was one that we ended up getting from Amazon. The Amazon and eBay ARB awnings, they're identical. They're packaged the same. The only difference was the one that I got from eBay, it arrived damaged because it managed to escape its packaging. Again, ARB, if you guys are listening, I think that cylindrical tube for shipment, it's excellent. But if we can get a hard cardboard or even a PVC cap for the ends of that tube, that will help to keep the contents inside and, more importantly, escape being damaged during shipping. Now, for our comms, we went ahead and went with a Cobra 19. It was cheap. That was mainly the reason why we purchased that particular bit of gear. I purchased that particular radio well over a year ago on eBay, and I got it for bottom dollar. I want to say I spent maybe $35 total between, you know, shipping, the cost of the radio, and taxes. The Wilson, the 3-foot Wilson that you guys see me using, that was an antenna that I bought some time ago from a local via Letgo or OfferUp. And I purchased that antenna for $10. And the packaging stated that it had some kind of flaw. But after visually inspecting this CB antenna, I couldn't find anything wrong with it. And as you guys have seen in previous videos, it works great. I've been able to make a few contacts with that particular antenna, and I'm picking up a bunch of skip. So I'm happy with it. The antenna mount that we went with was a Fire Stick variant. It was the mount and the mounting bracket. We just had to drill a couple of holes into the body of my R50 to get it put in place, and it's been working well for me. And I like the way that it looks. It looks really good. Now, the placement of that antenna will probably change in the future, because the goal is to get a aluminum tire carrier to place on the back of my R50. So when that happens, that antenna will definitely be relocated somewhere else. As to how I'm going to mount it, whether I'm going to mount it to the tire carrier itself or possibly put it somewhere else on the rig, that's to be determined in the future. Now, for 2024, we have a few more things that we really need to get done on the R50. A lot of maintenance related stuff, which I'll cover in future videos. But 2023 was very exciting, guys. You know, we did quite a few camping trips. We had some adventure there. As always, there's no shortage of things to fix on the R50. But moreover, we've been coming up on some really cool stuff in the junkyard. I think the most interesting thing that I've found this year, and I'm sorry if I keep beating the horse, although it's not dead yet. Trust me, it has plenty of living to do. But this key fob, because people ask me all the time, what's the coolest or most interesting or the rarest thing that you found in the junkyard? And you know, I found quite a few things. I found a shifter boot for a two-wheel drive R50, which I ended up selling on to another R50 owner not too long after that, through my store on eBay, and a whole host of other things. I mean, I found a spare mile marker hub assembly for my R50. I can always keep that as a spare just in case one of my hubs breaks or gets damaged. But to date, this key fob, it's one of two that I've found, and this is something that I've been looking for quite some time. As a matter of fact, it was almost about a year ago that I'd reached out to another member of the R50 community. This particular individual, he owns multiple Nissans just like myself, and I had actually watched a video of his where he was programming a set of fobs for his Infiniti G35, and I was like, gee, would something like this work for my R50? Because I would love to have keyless entry abilities, right? And he responded to me and he was like, hey, yes, this will definitely work. The programming sequence is identical. And he's like, I actually happen to have a spare or extra fob laying around. So he went ahead and sent me the fob, but unfortunately, for whatever reason, it didn't mesh with my R50. And I didn't exactly give up, but I was like, hey, I'll keep looking. He even gave me a few pointers as to the FCC IDs that are listed on the back side of the fob. But what's so strange is this fob and the secondary one that I found, neither one of them had that FCC ID that matched the one that he told me to be on the lookout for. In fact, the other fob that I have, it's a Dorman variety, which we all know how I feel about Dorman products. I mean, some of us, we can order Dorman and we get lucky and everything works out, and you know, it's life happily ever after. And then there's a vast majority of us where we get Dorman anything and it's absolute junk. So take this with a grain of salt. But if you're able to find these, especially used in a junkyard, if you come across it, even if you're not sure that it'll work for your R50, grab them, because you never know. I found these fobs online and through various auto parts stores where they're extremely expensive, and even more so if you go through, you know, Nissan, they're gonna rip you. But yeah, that was the most interesting thing that I found in the junkyard this year, hands down. Again, I found other things. I mean, I have a spare tire now that I just swapped to, that I found in the junkyard, brand new. We can add that to the list. Again, the shifter boot that I mentioned for the two-wheel drive R50, and this was for R50s 96 through 99. I found numerous trunk privacy covers. I think this year alone I probably scored about 6 of them, sold majority of them. I have one extra one that I'm keeping in my garage for myself because it's black and they're hard to find in that color. I have another tan one that I'm probably going to be selling on soon because I don't need it. Oh, and I finally scored on a pair of Infinity QX4 headlamp assemblies, which never happens because usually when I get to the junkyard and try to hunt those things down, the junkyard vultures would have gotten there first, and they're quite efficient. Those guys take all the good stuff. But this past week, there was actually 2 Infinity QX4s. Managed to get one set of headlamps. I was actually gonna try and get both, but one of the vultures got there first. And what's so amazing is that I was in the junkyard a mere 30 minutes after they opened. So whoever that individual was, they were there. And the main thing that you got to understand about the junkyard vultures is that they're not an everyday individual like myself, where they only go to the junkyard but so often. They're there every day because they don't work a regular day job like me and you. So these guys, they do junkyard runs full time. So those guys, they're always there and they're first in line and they'll take everything. There's a lot of competition for Infinity QX4 parts. The list goes on and on. There's just certain parts that you just have to be the one to get there first. And like I mentioned to you guys, I don't just sell R50 Pathfinder or R50 Infinity QX4 parts, and not just 5th Gen Ultima parts either. I try to get my hands on just about any and everything that I know that people are going to be looking for. One of the things that I just recently broke into is other makes and models like BMWs, Mercedes, Toyota, Ford. I mean, I'm just trying to reach out and just diversify my my storefront, because the more parts that I can catalog and sell, the more chance that I have of actually making a sale. So there's that. Other things for 2023, we've grown quite a bit this year, guys. We are finally over the hump. As a matter of fact, as I'm sitting down and speaking with you guys right now, we now have 1,217 subscribers on the channel, and we've surpassed 250,000 views, guys. And I owe it all to you. Thank you so very much for all of your support, all of the likes, the comments, the shares. I mean, everything. In fact, we were able to monetize the channel mid to late September, and we've been growing ever since then. Another thing that I wanted to mention to you guys, I've been secretly working on other segments of the channel, mainly merch. So I have a few designs that I came up with. Nothing set in stone, obviously. I just haven't mentioned anything or released anything because I'm not 100% satisfied with what I was able to come up with. But sometime early next year in the first quarter, we're going to start rolling out some merch. So for those of you who were actively interested in possibly getting yourself some merch or just representing the channel as a whole, just be a little bit more patient. It's coming. Like I mentioned, for 2024, one of the main things that we're going to be doing is focusing a lot more on maintenance for my R50. As much things as I've fixed in the last 3 years of ownership, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. I'm not going to outline every single thing, but if you're an owner of one of these rigs, you could pretty much already guess some of the things that's going to need to be done. The main thing is that we're going to need to address the top end of the engine there, mainly valve cover gaskets. This is something that I've taken note of quite some time ago, and it just needs to be done. While we're in there, we're going to go ahead and try and change all of our hoses, vacuum lines. Obviously, if we're gonna attack the valve cover gaskets. We're gonna complete a tune-up while we're in there. Both thermostats, mainly the one that lives under the upper and lower intake plenum, this would be referred to as the water control valve. That's going to be a thermostat that lives under your intake. The one that's in the front of the engine that we can all see and readily get to, that's just your standard everyday thermostat. But yes, this engine does have two. It's not so much the thermostat that I'm worried about. It's the rubber hose that comes off of that thermostat housing that goes back into the rest of the coolant passages. If that hose were to blow, that's game over. So before we let that happen, we're gonna go ahead and get that sucker swapped out. I've searched feverishly on Rock Auto to see if they had a aftermarket or even an OEM equivalent replacement for said parts. They have the water control valve, but they don't have the actual assembly with that hose that comes off. So that will probably be a special order from Nissan. I'm not excited to find out what the cost of it is going to be, but it is what it is because it needs to be addressed. Again, suspension, the main things that need to be addressed up front is going to be our lower control arms. Those are going to get changed. I still haven't looked to see what those replacement control arms are going to run us from Nissan direct. I'm pretty sure they're going to be quite expensive, but I'm going to weigh the cost between getting those, possible aftermarket replacements, which I can hear and see you all cringing right now, or my personal favorite, we could go to the junkyard and get some good OEM ones that are still in great shape and just upcycle them. I'm also going to be doing some homework to see how hard or how easy it is to swap out the bushings for some polyurethane ones, because that's what everyone on Empora recommends. If you're going to go that far, just go ahead and slap some poly bushings on those control arms while you're there. There's not very much that's left for me to actually upgrade on my R50. There's a handful of things. One thing in particular, I still need to get a pair of Bilsteins to put in the rear. Again, the cost is not a deterrent factor for me. It's just the modification that needs to be made to accept those components. It's not something that I trust myself with doing, but I'm going to do some more homework, and as soon as I get to a comfortable place with that, I'll go ahead and start working on it. But yeah, it's just a lot of maintenance. That's mainly what we're going to be doing, a lot of maintenance. We have registration renewal coming up soon. In fact, my registration renewal is going to be due by February 5th of next year. I believe that's the date that it's due by. But yeah, that's basically it. I just recently made a parts order through Rock Auto. Again, I'm not going to discuss what that is right now. In the coming days, you guys will probably see a short about this particular bit of work that needs to be carried out. And if all works out well, I'll be able to get this done sometime next weekend. Today is December 31st, obviously. I'm going to have this done within the first week of January. Another thing, a lot of people have been asking me like what things they should be doing with their R50 and so on and so forth. And obviously the number one topic of discussion is a lift. And I'm all for lifting your R50. But a lot of the questions that I've been getting too are kind of, I guess, silly questions. I'm not trying to single anyone out on this, but when I get those questions, and I get them all the time, well, what can I do to increase the fuel efficiency on my vehicle? And that's a difficult question for me to answer, because if your R50 is already been altered, or if you have any thoughts of altering your R50, putting bigger tires, a lift, adding more gear to it, making it heavier, the answer to that question is that there is no way for you to save gas aside from not driving it. And again, not trying to poke fun at anyone, but for myself, when I first acquired my rig, these two were my questions and thoughts. Now, I have manual locking hubs on my R50, but I'm going to be honest, the fuel savings that you're going to see from adding that particular bit of gear to your R50 is negligible. You're not really going to notice a huge difference. It might save you 1% or 2% on your fuel. The number one things that you need to do to increase your fuel efficiency is maintenance. Change your oil frequently. Use quality fuel. Make sure your tires are properly inflated. And above all else, drive conservatively. Whether you're driving a manual or an automatic. The harder you accelerate, the more that thing is going to dig into your fuel economy. And that includes me, because there's some days where I really get on it, especially if I'm in a rush or I'm running late to get somewhere like work. Oh yeah, I mash down. But for those days where I'm not faced with a time constraint, I putt to wherever I need to get to. And also when you're on the highway, try not to go faster than 70. I know in some places, you know, speed limit could be 70, 75, even 80, 85 miles an hour, depending on where you live or where you're traveling through. But typically when I'm on the highway, I try not to exceed 70 miles an hour. And you definitely want to use your cruise control. That's one of the things that I love about my R50. As old as it is, all my electronics still work, including my cruise control. And it works beautifully. Whenever I'm on the highway, I have that thing set. If I can get away with it in some cases, like when I first bought my R50, even before I lifted it, I would go no faster than 65 miles an hour. But in some cases, you really can't go that slow because the man behind you is going to be impatient and they're going to be on top of you the whole time. So I try not to go slower than 70 and no faster than 70 with the cruise control set where and when, you know, that particular feature can be utilized. So, oh, and obviously not keeping idle weight and items inside of your R50. Like for me, I only try to carry things that are 100% necessary for me to have at all times, like my breaker bar. I have a set of box wrenches, the same ones that you guys see me use in the junkyard. I keep those in the floor pan in the backside of my R50. I also have a roadside emergency kit with like jumper cables, a poncho, and miscellaneous hand tools. You know, those are the things that I keep in my R50. I don't have like a sound system or a huge array of tools that I keep or anything like that. Anything that's going to add additional weight to my R50 that's not 100% necessary for me to have 100% of the time, I leave it in my garage. Obviously, if I'm going camping, then all bets are off. That thing's going to be full to the brim inside and out, because that's why I have the rooftop basket. That's to carry additional items that I can't quite fit in the rig. So if you can follow all of those tips that I just outlined and mentioned, that's going to help you to maximize your fuel economy. Outside of that, if you're not willing to do those things mentioned, then good luck. But yeah, for 2024, again, we're just going to be focused on maintenance. We're going to be trying to get the last bit of modifications made to the rig. But going forward, there's not going to be too much more that's going to need to be done. Truthfully speaking, I'm quite satisfied with where my rig is right now. Again, we're just waiting to do our spare tire carrier modification. In fact, that's going to be one of the last things that I do on the rig. So when that time comes, that'll be pretty much it. So that's my little rant. You know, 2023, it's rapidly coming to an end. The sun is already setting, guys. It's coming up on 2:30. I hope that you guys had a wonderful Christmas, and I hope that you're gonna have an even brighter and more prosperous new year. 2024, I'm looking forward to it. I'm ready to hit the ground running. I have a couple of repair videos that's going to be following this one. Like I said, a lot of maintenance to come, and I just look forward to helping you guys to achieve any and all goals that you have for your R50. I look forward to continuing to inspire all of you while being inspired by you as well. I've learned a great wealth of information from so many viewers of my channel, and I just want to thank you guys for just being with me throughout 2023, and even more so for the ones that have been following along for the last almost 3 years. So here's to you guys. Here's to closing out 2023 on a good note, and here's to welcoming 24, guys. And look forward to seeing you all there. And until next time, keep using your Pathfinder as a Pathfinder, on or off the pavement. Thanks again for stopping by the Camper Dan Files. Happy New Year to all of you guys. Once again, my name is Chris, and I'll see you all next year.